Every year it arrives quietly. No fireworks, no fanfare, just a small payment tucked into bank accounts at a time when expenses are at their highest. The Christmas bonus for UK pensioners has existed for more than half a century. 50 years of rising prices, 50 years of shifting economies, 50 years of changing governments, and yet, one thing remains frozen in time. The Christmas bonus is still just £10. Now a new question is echoing across the country. After 5 decades of inflation and rising costs, should that £10 finally rise? And if it does, how high should it really go? £100, £300, or even as high as £900? For many pensioners, Christmas is no longer just a season of joy. It has become a season of careful calculation. Heating goes on longer, food bills climb, travel costs rise, families gather, gifts are expected. And yet, incomes remain fixed. For millions on the state pension, winter is now the most financially stressful time of the year. The Christmas bonus was created to ease that pressure. It was meant as a gesture of seasonal support, a small reminder that pensioners had not been forgotten. But what once bought a meaningful Christmas shop now barely covers a meal. In the 1970s, £10 carried real weight. It could cover a significant part of a festive dinner. It could buy several gifts. It could ease anxiety. Today, that same £10 struggles to stretch beyond a takeaway. And still, the bonus has never changed. Inflation has transformed everything except this payment. Energy bills have climbed dramatically. Food prices have surged. Council tax rises quietly every year. Prescription charges, travel, insurance, and household essentials all cost far more than they once did. Yet the Christmas bonus has remained locked in a completely different era. For many pensioners, it has become a symbol, not of support, but of neglect. Some laugh bitterly when the £10 arrives. Some sigh. Some barely notice it at all. And many quietly feel insulted, believing that their decades of work and tax contributions deserve better than what now feels like a token gesture. Yet behind the humour and frustration lies a deeper truth, that £10 still matters to many people, not because of its value in the shops, but because of what it represents. A connection to the state, a reminder that pensioners still exist within the system. And for the poorest pensioners, even £10 can still be the difference between heating and not heating for a day or two. But the debate is growing louder. How long can this payment remain frozen while every other cost continues to rise? Supporters of an increase argue that the bonus should reflect modern realities. They point out that if the £10 had risen with inflation, it would now be worth many times more. Not hundreds, but still, far more than it currently is. By some estimates, it would sit closer to £80 or £90 just to match its original purchasing power. Others go further. They argue that a one-off Christmas payment should now be used as a real lifeline, not a symbolic gesture. They suggest £300, £500, even £900, enough to genuinely ease winter pressure, enough to cover heating, enough to buy gifts for grandchildren without fear, enough to feel like dignity, not charity. But critics push back. They argue that large one-off payments are expensive, that public finances are already stretched, that targeted support should be based on need rather than age alone, that increasing the Christmas bonus for all pensioners would cost billions and either increase borrowing or lead to cuts elsewhere. At the heart of the debate sits a fundamental question. Is the Christmas bonus meant to be a serious support payment or merely a seasonal tradition? Because right now, it is functioning as neither. For pensioners on the basic state pension with little or no savings, December is one of the hardest months. Winter fuel bills arrive, food costs rise, social expectations increase. Many quietly self-isolate to save money. They turn down invitations, they reduce heating, they stretch meals, they choose between dignity and necessity. For them, £10 is not insulting. It is heartbreaking. For others with more stable incomes, the £10 feels almost irrelevant. It is noticed, then forgotten. But even among those who are financially secure, many still feel that the payment symbolizes how out of touch the system has become. The biggest emotional weight behind the debate is not greed. It is gratitude mixed with disappointment. Many pensioners say they are grateful for any support at all, but they also feel that after a lifetime of contributions, they should not have to be grateful for something that no longer reflects reality. The idea of raising the bonus to £900 may sound extreme to some, but supporters argue that it reflects the true cost of winter. Heating alone can consume hundreds of pounds in a few months. Add food, travel, gifts, and emergency expenses, and the figure no longer feels ridiculous. It feels realistic. Others suggest a middle ground, a rise to £100 or £200. Enough to matter. Enough to restore the original spirit of the payment. Enough to show that pensioners are being heard, yet year after year the bonus arrives unchanged. And with each passing year, the gap between what it was meant to be and what it has become grows wider. There is also a psychological element. Christmas is deeply tied to memory for older people. Many remember years of abundance, family gatherings, and generous seasons. Watching Christmas become smaller each year because of financial pressure is emotionally painful. It reinforces the feeling of decline that many already struggle with in later life. The £10 bonus, instead of easing that feeling, now often deepens it. Some pensioners use it deliberately for something symbolic. A small gift for a grandchild. A modest donation. A special treat. They preserve the meaning of the bonus even as the money itself loses value, and in doing so, they reveal just how deeply people still care about what it represents. Public opinion is divided. Some younger taxpayers argue that support should be targeted strictly by income, not age. They point out that some pensioners are wealthier than working families. They argue that blanket increases are inefficient. They call for reform rather than tradition. Others push back, saying the state pension is not a benefit, but a contract. A system paid into over decades with the expectation of later security. They argue that the Christmas bonus should reflect that contract, not be reduced to a token. The debate has now become symbolic of how society values its older generation. Are pensioners being protected or merely managed? Are they being supported or merely tolerated? The answer depends on who you ask. But what is undeniable is this. £10 in 1972 and £10 in 2025 are not the same thing. One represented meaningful support, the other represents a forgotten policy. The question of whether the bonus should rise to £900 may be contentious, but the fact that the £10 has not risen at all is becoming impossible to defend. What makes the situation more painful is the contrast with how quickly other things change. Tax thresholds move, rates shift, allowances freeze and unfreeze, support schemes appear and disappear. Yet the Christmas bonus remains untouched, as if frozen in policy amber. Some pensioners feel invisible because of this. They feel that their voices no longer carry political weight, that they are remembered only in election speeches but forgotten in budgets. For the poorest among them, Christmas has become a season of quiet endurance rather than celebration. Yet despite all this, many pensioners remain remarkably resilient. They budget carefully, they prioritize family, they avoid asking for help, they carry pride even under pressure. But pride does not pay heating bills, and dignity does not lower supermarket prices. This is why the conversation around the Christmas bonus refuses to fade. It resurfaces every year, with more urgency, with more frustration, with more emotional weight, because Christmas amplifies inequality like no other season. Bright lights shine next to dark homes. Full tables exist alongside empty fridges. Abundance and scarcity sit side by side. And the £10 bonus, once intended as a bridge between those extremes, now feels like little more than a whisper. A rise to £900 would not solve poverty, but it would send a message. That older citizens matter. That winter hardship is being recognised. That 50 years of frozen support is finally being addressed. A rise to £100 or £200 would not transform lives, but it would restore meaning to a payment that has lost its purpose. Even a modest increase would tell pensioners that someone is still paying attention. And sometimes that attention matters almost as much as the money itself. For many pensioners, the fear is not just Christmas, it is what comes after. Savings slowly shrink, costs steadily rise, health becomes unpredictable, independence feels fragile, every extra pound feels like borrowed time. The Christmas bonus debate sits right at the crossroads of all these fears. It represents how society balances gratitude with obligation, how it honors past contributions, how it responds to present hardship, and how it prepares for future aging. Because one day, everyone watching this will belong to the group being discussed. The £10 bonus may seem small, but the question it raises is enormous. What does a lifetime of work deserve at the end? A token, or a genuine gesture of care? This Christmas, when that small payment appears once again, some will smile, some will shrug, and some will quietly feel the sting of what it no longer represents. The debate over the Christmas bonus is not just about money, it is about memory, dignity, and how a nation chooses to honor those who built it. Whether the future holds £10, £100, or £900, the real question is whether the value placed on pensioners will ever rise faster than the prices around them.